Well, would help if I unmuted my mic there. So I, I've had a few people tell me, "Hey, you need to do a show again." So after a brief hiatus, I'm back, and we'll see where this takes us. So first off, I want to welcome everybody in, uh, and all that good stuff. So welcome in. If you're new, welcome. I try to make everybody in here a mod, so that way everybody is no better than the next person. But sometimes I miss something, so if I miss you, making you a mod or whatever, let me know, and I'll do it as soon as I can. So uh, I I moved about a month ago, well, a little over a month ago, and I am in the middle of nowhere. So, and it makes it great because I'm not really a people person. So, anyway, let's let's wait for some more folks to come in, and we'll just start diving in. And I talked to Hawk. I sent him the link. He may or may not be here. He said he had a lot of stuff he had to get done. So let's see. Let's see. So how has everybody been? Some of you I've talked to in Hawk's chat. Um, some of you I've talked to on the phone. So yeah, I've been kind of racking my brain what I was going to talk about today because I've been sending a lot of this stuff, to both Hawk and Dave. So I've just been kind of looking for a few things here and there, things that they haven't covered, or things that you may not have seen, or whatever. So we'll just kind of play it by ear, I guess. So let's see here. I go ahead and go into my bookmarks here. So, real AF Patriot posted something the other day. It was October the 28th, so I guess it was 3 days ago. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's uh, a pretty good representation of the what's been going on. Uh, so, Tennessee Ridge Runner, good to see you. Timothy Graff, good to see you. Angel Rose, good to see you too. And Marla B, good to see you in here also. So let's see here. I gotta go in here to my YouTube. Give me just a second. I gotta do it from my phone. But anyway, it's a pretty good breakdown, and really, a patriot says the Democrats not only cheat, but openly cheat and brag about it. Listen to Obama during his campaign, Biden during his campaign, and after he was legally installed as president. And I'm going to add a monologue to it. He was installed like a toilet, and he and Kamala Harris have basically flushed the country down the toilet like a turd. So I guess it compares. Vote Trump to save America and make America great again. Don't wait, vote early. So let's I'll play that in just a second as I get through. Man, my chat's not showing up. Good Lord. Terry Storer, welcome in. Man. Sandy Vargas, welcome in. Good Lord, the chat's not even showing up on my StreamYard. I wonder what's going on here. Oh, there it is. All right. Sherry Tackett, good day to you too. So let's get things rolling here. We got 31 people in here, so it's pretty good to get started here.
I would just like to know what you can say to reassure us that this election will not be rigged or stolen.
Well, I tell you what, it helps in Ohio that we got Democrats in charge of the machines.
In a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our administration, the President Obama's administration before this, we have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
It's no longer just about who gets to vote or making it easier for eligible voters to vote. It's about who gets to count the vote. Who gets to count whether or not your vote counted at all.
So, looking at everything that we've been seeing over the last couple of days with, the voter suppression happening in Pennsylvania, the Dominion machines, and I'm going to say Dominion machines because, I think it's high time that everybody starts calling a spade a spade. The Dominion machines doing stuff to the votes, and I'm going to show you something here in a little bit of this. There's an instance of the same voter registration number voting quite a few times on the same day. So and I believe that happened in Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. And then out in Pennsylvania, once again, they have security officers, whether they be police officers or whatever. Hawk showed this yesterday, physically blocking the entrance for people to get in to vote. The polls closing at 1:45 instead of the 5 o'clock that was mandated by the governor, which is corrupt as they come. And then you've also got a mayor in one of the cities basically trying to stop Trump from doing a rally there as they were setting up the barricades. So there's a lot of funky stuff going on, and they've already started with it, and they don't know what to do. They're panicking because there's record numbers of people coming out to vote early. So they really don't have any idea of what to do or how they're going to counter these kind of numbers. So let's go down here. There was another one here that I wanted to bring up while we're talking about the voting stuff. So we have the Secretary of State in Colorado who's basically asked, well, point blank, will you resign? And her answer was an emphatic no. I mean, it was brutal. So let me go ahead and pull this up and we'll get her playing.
A final question. This is not the first time that your office has made mistakes that have damaged voters' confidence in our elections. In 2022, your office sent out mailers to 30,000 non-citizens inviting them to register to vote. They, of course, are not eligible to register to vote. That same year, Your office used Colorado's ballot tracking system to send messages to specific Coloradans encouraging them to vote when in fact they had already voted, causing confusion that had to be cleaned up by the county clerks. And now this leak of the voting system passwords. Given your office's repeated errors that have damaged confidence in our elections, which you say is paramount, will you resign?
Absolutely not, Kyle. And I just want to, you're unfairly characterizing and leaving out some crucial information.
A final question. This is not the first time that your office has made mistakes.
Unfairly characterizing, huh? But isn't it unfair that there was a lady that went to jail for saying the same thing that he just said and blowing the whistle while she was a county worker that had to do with the voting? Shouldn't she be released from prison because she was blowing the whistle on the Dominion machines, which we're going to see the Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, here in a minute, talking about how the machines were messing up. So let's go ahead and go to that one while we're on the subject of voting. So this coming from Hustle Bitch, Dominion machines affected nationwide. Jocelyn Benson says, so nationwide would include Colorado, I would think. This is a nationwide issue with Dominion machines hit by a voting bug. Votes will not be properly recorded. Here we go again. So let's go ahead and play this.
Been issues with the programming of the VATS.
Start it over here so everybody can hear it.
Been issues with the programming of the VATS with specifically
Yes.
from Dominion.
Mhm.
Why was that only caught in the past few days, and why can't it be fixed? I saw the release.
Yeah, this is a nationwide issue with Dominion voter access terminals in the counties that use them. And the voter access terminals, of course, not all the machines, just the ones that are accessible, have an issue with the straight party voting and a programming issue that's again affected the machines nationwide. And I think all of us that use Dominion machines were unhappy to learn about this during the testing period and as early voting began. So we're working with Dominion to seek accountability on that front, and also are working with our clerks to ensure voters are aware of this programming issue that will require them to ensure they are voting every section on the ballot.
Do you think the bigger issue in Michigan because we do allow voters to cross over in ways that a lot of other states don't?
Because we have straight party, it's not struck me as I've talked to my other colleagues in other states. They're just as upset about it as we are. So yeah, or surprised, I think. Yeah.
So now let me get this straight. This lady, Jocelyn Benson, threatened to take law licenses. She was threatened to have people locked up. You got another person there in Michigan. I think she was in Detroit. She was a councilwoman or something, threatening people because we said, hey, the machines are bad. And yet this lady right here is getting up and now having to admit that there's a problem with the machines, which everybody's been saying for the last, 4 years now. So are these people going to take accountability for what they did between 2020 and now for damning everybody that spoke out against the machines and filed lawsuits because of the wrong numbers coming out? I mean, think about this alone. Mike Lindell, he did 2 different specials about the machines. The first one was, I think it was called Absolute Truth or something like that. And then there was a second one. Both of them talking about the machines. both of them going state by state, breaking down the numbers. And then I think the man is owed an apology at the very minimum. But I think he's also owed some restitution for all the money he's had to spend trying to get this fixed and having to fight for court cases. So, once again, and and this is what I was talking about right here. So there we go. All right. So if we look here, voter ID number 159607018 voted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 20, at least 29 times. All right, same number, all on the same day, all with different addresses. So we have 10100 Harper Avenue, 11300 7 Mile Road, Holcomb Street, Camden Street, Woodward Avenue, Fort Street, Kercheval Street, Mount Elliott Street, Trumbull Street, Adams Avenue, another Trumbull Street, 3rd Street, St. Antoine Street, Connor Street, Hurlbut Street, Marlborough Street, Fort Street, and back to Woodward Avenue. So, but remember, they would have you believe this is just a glitch. This isn't, and look, it says the vote was recorded. That's the other thing. The vote was recorded. But if there's no problem with the machines, why weren't they kicking out these votes? I'm just saying. And somebody probably went over this already, but it doesn't take away from the fact this stuff needs to get out there. So let's see here. Yeah. So that's what's this? Okay. Yeah, I watched that the last time. Though I went live, so I mean, come on now. What's really going on here? I mean, since we're talking about the voting and all, so I find it hard to believe that that same number can vote that many times. And I agree. We do need to fix 2020. We do. And they didn't, and look at all the horse shit we're having to look at now. And I'm going to tell you, where I'm at, there is no law on the books that says that we are allowed to challenge an election. And when I tried to remedy that by at least trying to get rid of the people that were elected for not doing their job, my stuff was shit canned. It was thrown in the garbage. And when I called out my representative and my senator for it, they did nothing except try to shut me up. When I called out my governor for his appearance at the WEF, I got hung up on. So the corruption is rampant. It's not just federal. It's not just at the state level either. There are numerous cases of corruption all over. So this just isn't a one-time incident. This has been an ongoing issue for years, probably spanning decades. maybe even a century. And they are making too much money. They are. And you know what I think? There was a song that was put out by Men of War back in the early 2000s. And one of the lyrics of the song said, "To be a king, you must first be a man," which is true. Because in order to know how best things need to be done for the people, you need to be one of the people. One of the common people. And I think that's what Trump has been doing. I mean, if we look at the way he has been trolling, I mean, just absolutely trolling everybody for this election cycle. So let's see. First, he did a shift at McDonald's, right? And then when he was leaning out the window, he said, "I've worked here for 15 minutes, which is 15 minutes longer than Kamala Harris ever has." Right? So there's that one. 2, after Joe Biden called everybody garbage, what's he do? He comes in wearing a fluorescent vest that the trashmen wear when they come pick up the trash. And he rides in a garbage truck. Epic trolling. I mean, this trolling's on a whole other level. I think it's great. I think it's great. And then Angel. So there's this also. Saw one drop box under surveillance, had 24 people drop off ballots and 1,900 ballots counted from that box. Yep, and that's a huge problem also. And the other problem, once again, from Pennsylvania, and there was a press conference about it on Friday. The prosecutor, I think it was from Lancaster County, there was a last minute voter registration drop off with, I believe she said, 2,500. You know what? I'll just find the video and I'll play it. So let me go here. I'll just do it this way. Man, it's pretty far down. That was Friday. No, man, come on. Where you at? Oh, and then I'm going to get into this ass hat too. But and we're all poking fun at Kamala Harris, because all of us know she's a dim-witted idiot. So let's see here. Let me find it here. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? I wasn't planning on talking about that, so I didn't have it put up in my bookmarks. But since we're actually talking about it now, I think it's best that we just go ahead and play it, because maybe you guys haven't seen it. Where you at? Come on. Where you at? Come on. But yeah, it's one of those things that people aren't quite aware of. Here it is. So, and this was October 25th, which was last Friday. So, and this was put out by George. Breaking: Lancaster, Pennsylvania officials have busted a large-scale fraudulent voter registration scheme that includes thousands of applications with the same handwriting, fake signatures, false addresses, and etc. They discovered more of the same scheme in other Pennsylvania counties. District Attorney Heather Adams revealed that the application came from canvassers that were paid to obtain voter registrations, adding that the majority of applications from residents in the city of Lancaster. The canvasses themselves took place in various shopping centers, parking lots of grocery stores and businesses, sidewalks, and parks. We are aware of at least 2 other counties that have similar applications that are currently being investigated. If you listen closely, the DA said the clerk received the applications at or near the deadline to register to vote. That means that the bad actors waited till the last minute so no one would notice. They would have used the same fraudulent applications to commit mail-in voter fraud without getting caught. Better check the entire state of Pennsylvania and start making arrests now. So yes, so let me go ahead and start playing this here so that way you guys can hear it for yourself.
Good morning, everyone. District Attorney Heather Adams. On Tuesday afternoon, I was contacted by Krista Miller, who is our Chief Clerk of Elections, regarding potentially fraudulent voter registration applications that had recently been received by her office. At that time, she informed me that the Elections Office received approximately 2,500 applications at or near the deadline for registering to vote. While preparing to process these applications, staff noticed that numerous applications appeared to have the same handwriting, were filled out on the same day with unknown signatures, and some were previously registered voters, excuse me, and the signatures on file did not match the signatures on the application. So before I begin to summarize our preliminary findings, I must remind everyone that this is an ongoing investigation, and for that reason, I will be limited in the details that I can provide. Lancaster County detectives began investigating the voter registration applications and immediately found applications that were indeed fraudulent. Indicators of fraud included inaccuracies with the addresses listed on the applications, false personal identification information, as well as false names. A number of the applications also contained names that did not match the provided Social Security information. In some cases, applications contained correct personal identification information, such as the correct address, correct phone number, date of birth, driver's license number, and Social Security number. But the individuals listed on the applications informed detectives that they did not request the form, they did not complete the form, and verified that the signature on the form was not theirs. At this point, it is believed that the fraudulent voter registrations are connected to a large-scale canvassing operations for voter registrations that date back to June. However, the majority of the applications received are dated August 15th and after. Those canvassing for voter registrations were employed and paid to obtain voter registration applications. The majority of the applications were from residents in the city of Lancaster. However, applications were also received from residents in Columbia, Elizabethtown, Mountjoy, Akron, Ephrata, Stevens, Strasburg, as well as other locations across Lancaster County. The canvasses themselves took place at various shopping centers, parking lots of grocery stores and businesses, sidewalks, and parks. During this preliminary investigations, detectives were able to verify some of the applications were indeed legitimate. In these instances, the applicant verified that they did provide information to a canvasser. For these applications, we will immediately advise voter registration and that we confirm that they are legitimate requests, and voter registration will process that application. Thus far, of the investigations that we have completed, we have determined that 60% have been fraudulent. That is of the investigations that we've completed. We do have more to do today, and my understanding is that voter registration is still going through the box of 2,500, but should be completed sometime here today. As I said, the investigation is ongoing. We are aware of at least 2 other counties that received similar applications that are currently being investigated. At this point, we have confirmed violation of our crimes code as well as our elections code. We have all available detectives working on this. We are all hands on deck so that we can properly assess the validity of these applications in a timely manner. If needed, we will request additional assistance from our local police departments.
So that was the press conference from last Friday. I don't know if y'all had seen
Good
that.
morning, everyone. District Attorney Heather Adams.
Or if, you know, this is something new to you, but I figured, well, since we're already talking about this, you know, I mean, it's really disheartening to see that this is what the country has come to. So, and here we go. I'm going to play something. It just came up in my feed. So let me bookmark it so that way it adds it to the folder here. So let's see here. Bookmarks. And here's another one just posted 10 minutes ago from I Meme, Therefore I Am. What kind of voting machine nonsense is this? So let's go ahead and watch this one too while we're at it. So just a quick note, I'm going to play it again. So this guy is trying to push, you know, the choice for Donald J. Trump. Now watch what happens. Nothing. Now watch again. He pushed Donald Trump and it selected Harris Walz. So yes, I agree, Patty Klein. The elections need to be stopped. I agree. At this point, they need to be stopped because there is too much rampant fraud and corruption and harassment and voter interference for it to continue. And at this point, I think the National Guard should probably say, hey, enough is enough. You know, let's go ahead and handle this. Buffering, how's it going, man? Good to see you in here. Yeah, I agree, Tennessee. Machines need to be gone. They need to get gone, whether it's Dominion or Hart, and there was another one. But they all need to go. When I voted, what was it, 2 weeks ago, they were using the Hart machines, but I checked my ballot and everything I selected going through was there. But that doesn't mean that the QR code printed the way it was supposed to either. So that they do need to go without a doubt. And this is what I think should happen. Okay. What I think should happen is in real time, everybody should be able to see where their vote went and it get added to the tally. I think they need to do that in real time. And I think, I mean, that's just me, because I think there's too many questions going on right now. And I think if everybody said, hey, there's too much bullshit going on here, fix it. I think if everybody in every district said the same thing, I think something would get done. So, I mean, it's, oh man, it's just one of those things that this needs to end quick, because it's going to get really shitty really soon for a lot of people if it don't. So it's going to be one of those things, you know. So now, you know, moving on from the voting stuff. I mean, there's just a lot. There's really a lot. Oh, and I forgot to mention this earlier when we first started. Hey, when I'm done, you know, going through the things I wanted to share with you guys, I'm going to drop the link for StreamYard in here. So that way you can come up and we can have, you know, a conversation. I think I can hold up to 10 in my StreamYard. So we can have a conversation about what's going on. So if that sounds all right with everybody, we can do that. So let's go here. So, and you know, this video has been played a lot, but I'm going to play it again because it's important to talk about this stuff as often as possible. Because if we don't, it will not bring awareness to those who don't know about it. So let's go ahead and play this.
Potentially hundreds of military employees and contractors who may have bought child pornography online but haven't been prosecuted or even in some cases investigated. That's right, you heard me, child pornography. As many as 1,700 names, according to a U.S. Senator, on a list of 5,200 from an internet sting operation overlooked the first time around 4 years ago. Pentagon porn story began in 2006. An Immigration and Customs Enforcement child pornography sting operation called Project Flicker produced payment records of about 5,200 people, many of whom provided Army or fleet zip codes or military email addresses. Subsequently, the Pentagon's investigative branch, DCIS, began going through the ICE list to identify who actually was a DoD employee or a contractor. The investigation, however, only ran for 8 months and only cross-checked some 3,500 names for Pentagon ties, according to a senator. Out of that 3,500, investigators uncovered.
Hey, just a note here. Isn't that guy Anderson Cooper, the guy that has been saying that none of this bullshit's been going? Isn't that Anderson Cooper? Just a thought.
Over 264 employees or contractors. Potentially hundreds of military employees and contractors who may have bought child pornography online but haven't been prosecuted or even in some cases investigated. That's right, you heard me, child pornography. As many as 1,700 names, according to a U.S. Senator, on a list of 5,200 from an internet sting operation overlooked the first time around 4 years ago. Pentagon porn story began in 2006. An Immigration and Customs Enforcement child pornography sting operation called Project Flicker produced payment records of about 5,200 people, many of whom provided Army or fleet zip codes or military email addresses. Subsequently, the Pentagon's investigative branch, DCIS, began going through the ICE list to identify who actually was a DoD employee or a contractor. The investigation, however, only ran for 8 months and only cross-checked some 3,500 names for Pentagon ties, according to a senator. Out of that 3,500, investigators uncovered 264 employees or contractors.
Imagine that. Whatever happened to that story? So, let's see. Do you see me? No, I didn't see that. That sounds funny as hell. But yeah. So, whatever happened to that story? Why are they so eager to sweep it under the rug? Oh, wait, that's right. I know why. Because it would ruin the people's perception of who is actually running the country. Huh. Yeah. So, in the Bohemian Club, right? That's another one. So this aired in 1982. So let's see what this is about here.
Defense Secretary Casper Weinberger canceled plans. Defense Secretary Casper Weinberger canceled plans to go to Bohemian Grove in California this weekend because of the possibility of more flare-ups in the Lebanon crisis. But even without the Defense Secretary, the Bohemian Grove will not close down for lack of power. What is the Bohemian Grove? Well, it's a kind of summer camp for the powerful, an all-male gathering in great secrecy. More from Dennis Murphy.
George Shultz, Henry Kissinger, and West German Chancellor Schmidt arrived by car. The chairman of General Motors and U.S. Steel came in by private jet.
If you would look at the guest list over a period of 5 years, I don't think there would be anybody of any importance in America who was missing from that list.
Cabinet officers and captains of industry are going to summer camp at Bohemian Grove, an all-male retreat secluded in the Redwood Forest 2 hours north of San Francisco. Outsiders are not invited. What's hidden away is a little bit of Boy Scout camp and a lot of fraternity hokum. There are rituals, bonfires, and the burning of effigies. The members live in lodges with names like Wolf and Caveman. Gerald Ford, Henry Kissinger, William French Smith, and George Shultz are bunkmates at Mandalay Camp. President Reagan's camp, Owl's Nest, is famous for its Eggs Benedict and Ramos Gin Fizz breakfast. But for the most part, stories about what happens in these redwoods are hard to come by. A campground statue reminds Bohemians to keep their mouths shut about the Grove.
I've heard a lot of good music there. I've met a lot of interesting people, and I look forward to listening to music again.
But there are employees who tell tales out of school.
You know, I mean, half of these guys, from what I can tell, stay loaded or stay bombed, the entire time that they're there. I mean, they stagger into breakfast and stagger out from dinner. But at the same time, they're talking business.
And sometimes those business talks send ripples far beyond the Grove. Sociology professor William Domhoff.
Reagan and Nixon talked at length in 1967 in the Grove to decide who would go first in Republican primaries.
While decision makers are cementing friendships, protesters outside the gate are keeping a vigil. To them, the Bohemian Grove is an all-white, all-male, undemocratic policy-making arm of the government. They want the Bohemians to go home. But summer camp won't end until next week. Dennis Murphy, NBC News, Monte Rio, California.
Yeah, enough said about that one. The Bohemian Grove is one of those things that are just really, really dark. They have an owl statue there. It's supposed to be for the worship of Moloch. I mean, it's just, it's pretty dark. I'm not gonna put it any other way. So, yeah, and there was one other one I wanted to talk about here, real quick, because we're talking about, the children and all that stuff. So it might be here. Bear with me, folks. I thought I bookmarked it, but I guess I didn't. I'm trying to find it here because I reposted it. And I don't care if I get a copyright for this. I really don't care, because the song that's on there, here it is. I really don't care, because when everybody sees how sick and twisted the language here, I'm going to use it. This fucking pedophile piece of shit is, when you see the terror on this kid's face, it's Oh man. Oh man. It's unreal. I showed my wife this video, and she said she can no longer listen to that song when it comes on the radio. When it comes on, she has to turn it because it makes her sick at her stomach. So, I mean, it's just, it's beyond dark. So, never forget the children. So, if we look here, I don't know that that's the same kid, uh, but it very well could be. Um, and if we look here, look at his face real well, get a good look. What else if I got to do this again here. All right, get a good look of his face real well. I'm gonna go back to the kid's picture here. Like I said, I don't know if that's the same kid, but if it is, look at the silhouette here. Looks the same to me. So brace yourselves, folks, because it's going to be hard to watch. So maybe I ought to put a warning up there. Before I play it. There we go. All right, so here we go. That guy right there, evil piece of shit. I mean, it's oh man, he should be locked up. He should be. He should be. And I've seen a lot of videos, a lot, within the last year alone, not only of him, but also videos of the island. I've seen things coming out from, I mean, it's, oh my God, unfathomable. I mean, it's really, really just, oh my God. it's harrowing to say the least. Who said that? I think it was MRI Girl. It's very harrowing to say the least. So, oh my. So, and you know, Hawk talks about the children. I try to talk about the children when I see stuff, and I also try to bring awareness, you know, to different things as far as that's concerned. Now, talking about the children, it goes into something that I wanted to pull up here. Let's see here. So there's this. All right, so let me bring that over here. Now, this is really interesting. I got this from Ingersoll Lockwood. It was one of the hidden links about a month ago, I think. And it talks about all of the sealed indictments. All right, but if we look here, if we go to search here, you click on the flag, it takes you to this. And it breaks it down by state, okay? Which is really, really interesting. So let me go ahead and I'm going to drop this into the chat here so that way you guys can go there and see it for yourself. So, and like I said, when you go to that link, if you click on the search here, it's going to bring this up right here, okay? And then you click on it, and it brings you to this map. And it breaks it down, like I said, by state. So if we look at, let's just go to Michigan, all right? Sealed indictments, right? Total cases, 13,967. Of those, 3,256 are sealed, and there are 10,711 that have been unsealed. Human trafficking, there's 390 cases. There's 392 cases involving pedophiles. There's been one resignation. Well, actually, two resignations. There's 1,894 cases dealing with drugs. 2,517 regarding firearms. 11 for homicide. 810 for illegal aliens. 833 cases for fraud, 158 cases for robbery. RICO and rackets, you're looking at 190 cases, and public corruption, there are 143 cases. So, and what's another big one? Let's go with Pennsylvania. God, I'm just picking on Pennsylvania today, aren't I? Let's see here. There are 43,213 cases total. 28,259 have been sealed. There's been 14,954 unsealed. 539 involving human trafficking. 549 involving pedophiles. There's been two resignations. There's been 3,335 for drugs, 2,848 for firearms, 6 under homicide. Now, these, once again, these are sealed and unsealed indictments. 659 involving illegal aliens, 1,458 involving fraud, 344 involving robberies, 456 for rackets and RICO, and public corruption 270. So I'm going to drop this into the chat for you guys also, so that way you guys can see it for yourself and you can look at your state as you please. I just think this is, it's a lot. It's a lot. And then also, you know, I don't want to dox anybody, but I will show you something here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to Indiana when I come across it here. And I know you guys are thinking, oh, it's in alphabetical order. Yeah, but the list kind of starts over. So it's one of those things here. Gotta find my state here. Oh, come on. Where you at? I've already been to you once, and I was looking at it, and I was like, oh my God, what the hell is this? So, and I have not been through this entire list by any means, but I've looked at a few things from my state, and that's what I'm going to pull up now as soon as I come across it. Navy vet, yes. I read that somewhere too. So here we go. Northern District of Indiana. I'm just going to pull this one up because I'm in the Northern District. So let's go here. And it pulls up the indictment, which is fantastic. So, and it pulls up United States of America v. Bell, U.S. v. Figs, U.S. v. McLeod, another one for McLeod, America v. Hughes, U.S. v. Krieg, U.S. v. Lyons, U.S. v. Warmlink, U.S. v. Harvey, U.S. v. Tate, U.S. v. Gorelchik, U.S. v. Johnson, U.S. v. Valentine, U.S. v. Gramhofer, U.S. v. Gutierrez, Villaseñor, U.S. v. Francis, U.S. v. Gray, U.S. v. Murray, U.S. v. Scales, U.S. v. Bangs, U.S. v. Carrillo Vasquez, U.S. v. Crawford, U.S. v. Holly, U.S. v. Henderson, U.S. v. Bush, U.S. v. Hurd, and then the rest of them are sealed. So, I mean, like I said, I've only been looked at a couple of them, and I think this is the other one I looked at. So, I mean, good Lord, you know, U.S. v. Benson, U.S. v. Blair, U.S. v. Hollis, U.S. v. James Molina, U.S. v. Ladig, U.S. v. Ladig, Molina again, Blair, Bacon, Dixon, Strajewski, Bender, Rodriguez, Smith, Jones, Geary, Villarreal, Tusevich, Sosa, Garola, Sante, DeWitt, Newland, Villarreal again. So, I mean, these really are just, oh my God. And you can click, like I said, over here where it shows the source file link, and it pulls it up. I mean, it just pulls it up. So, I mean, that is really, really a good tool to be looking at. And there was something over here too, and if you click on the America's Secret Courts right here, in which somebody in the chat was talking about secret courts too. Maybe it was on Twitter, but it takes you to this video, and it's a JFK speech from 1964. So, or was it 64? No, 62. My bad. So, I mean, there's really a lot. I mean, a lot. Try to refresh Sparky's run. Try to refresh, restart it and see what happens. Because I'm viewing on my phone live as we're doing this, and it's not showing it being. I'm not getting the spinning wheel of death. So yes. So there is that. So, I mean, there's really just, good Lord, a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the link both over here on YouTube and also X, for those of you that want to come up and have a conversation about this stuff. So here's the link for YouTube, and here is the link for X. There we go. So it's one of those things that people don't really talk about this stuff much. And of those people that do talk about it, how many of them get censored? How many of them actually know about anything that's going on? So, I mean, and it's good to have a conversation amongst ourselves about all of this stuff. So that way, maybe we can all get an understanding at the same time, or if somebody doesn't know, explain it. It's one of those things that people just need to be aware. So, if I don't have anybody come up in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and call it. But it's one of those things that I just, without knowledge, we have no power. And with no power, we will continue to be enslaved. So by a system that beats us down, works us to death, only to tell us at the end of which to piss off, and then we die. So it's kind of a brutal way to put it, maybe an oversimplification, but let's face it. How long do people typically live after they retire? And what do they get upon their retirement? A fixed income where they say, oh, you can only have this much, not only from the retirement that they put in, but also, we're talking like Social Security benefits, and you can only have this much. And then of those that get that, what do they really get from it? Nothing. I mean, come on now. And also, buffering. If you could drop Hawk's donation link for his camper, that would be fantastic. So that way he can get his camper and live in the camper instead of the building. So Yes, MRI girl. Yeah, that's a fair point. The medical field is not helping us, just poisoning us. Yes, as a matter of fact, on that note, I am glad you said something. I'm going to see if maybe I have this video in here because I probably do. Because I know that I have posted it in here before. I just got to find it. Oh, and by the way, I'm getting the crap sense out of me too. I was talking about it with Dave and Hawk on Saturday, and I talked to Mr. Sciatica about it. And all of my things, that I sent them says that that I've hidden the content, and I haven't hidden anything because I don't even know how to do that. So I just want to let you know about that. So let's see here. See if I have it. I know I do. There it is. All right.
At the same time.
All right. So let me. All right. So I am going to go ahead and play this because, I'm glad you brought this up, MRI girl, because a lot of times people don't realize this. So I'm going to go ahead and, oh crap. And if you guys have already seen it, I apologize. But maybe some of you have not. So I'm just going to go ahead and share it anyway. So here we go.
At the same time that John D. Rockefeller seized U.S. media, he also hijacked U.S. medicine. When it was discovered that drugs could be produced from petroleum, America's top oil mogul ordered his army of propagandists to invert reality accordingly. Medicines used for thousands of years were suddenly classified as alternative, while the new, petroleum-based, highly addictive, and patentable drugs were declared the gold standard. After buying the German pharmaceutical company that manufactured chemicals of war for Adolf Hitler, Rockefeller leveraged his political influence by pressing Congress to declare natural healing modalities unscientific quackery. Rockefeller then took control of the American Medical Association and began offering massive grants to top medical schools under the mandate that only his approved curriculum be taught. Any mention of the healing powers of herbs, plants, and diet was erased from most medical textbooks. Doctors and professors who objected to Rockefeller's plan were crucified by the media, removed from the AMA, and stripped of their license to teach and practice medicine. Those who dared to speak out were arrested and jailed. When evidence began to emerge that petroleum-based medicines were causing cancer, Mr. Rockefeller founded the American Cancer Society, through which he suppressed that information. John D. Rockefeller is duly credited as the founder of the pharmaceutical industry, and the reason that medical error is currently the third leading cause of death in America. This is not an indictment against doctors. More than anyone, they are under the stranglehold of the single largest lobbying power in Washington. Every year, the pharmaceutical industry spends at least twice the amount as big oil to influence laws, policies, and public perception. Thanks to Mr. Rockefeller, the architect of American monopolies, no industry has more power over our lives than Big Pharma.
I just wanted to share that with everybody, which I thought was really interesting. So anyway, John, how's it going, man?
Hey, it's going good.
Been a hot minute.
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't know if I've missed them because I haven't been getting notifications, or you just haven't been doing a whole lot.
I haven't been doing a whole lot. We just moved into the new house we started moving here September the 20th. I still don't have everything out of my storage unit from where we were emptying the old house. So that way we didn't have as much stuff to move out of there. I still have a half a storage unit full that I got to get.
Yeah, I hate moving. But you know, when you move, you realize, man, I got a lot of junk.
Oh man. Oh man.
Yeah, I just wanted to come up and touch base with you. I put some links in the private for you. You know, you was talking about the election system or the voting machines. You know, actually, even in the chat, I put, you know, voter fraud and manipulation has been going on since they've started with voting.
Yeah.
You know, like if you look at like the tycoons of the past, you know, they had the money where they can run newspaper articles and they can use propaganda. It's kind of like, you know, Abraham Lincoln versus whoever he was running against. They were probably like, yeah, this guy, he, well, there's even a movie out, Abraham Lincoln, the Vampire Slayer. And
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
you know, it's like, so propaganda is it's an old tactic that's been used since the beginning of time. And I shared some links, like with the voting machines. Actually, there was, I think it was the Smartmatic was Canadian and British owned. And then the Sequoia, I think it was, and I could have these mixed up, was 3 Venezuelan engineers developed that. And that actually, they started using it, and that's when Venezuela went to crap.
Yeah.
And they were noticing voter discrepancies and different things like that in Venezuela. So in 2000 with Bush Gore, they were using the machines then in Florida. And this is where the Supreme Court made a ruling or a decision on who was going to be the president. They kind of overstepped the electoral college.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the electoral vote count. That should have been considered a constitutional crisis and should have went to the House of Representatives for each state to take a single vote.
Right. So, you know, everything's messed up, and, you know, there's nothing new under the sun. I mean, we're just now learning a lot of things, you know. That's like, I know myself, and this is just personally, you know, growing up, you were focused on putting food on the table, a roof over the head of your family. You know, we didn't have this technology. And I think this technology is forcing us to evaluate things, you know, the way things are, and how even this technology coming into play has given the people, the wealthy people, you know, they can hire the computer programmers, they can develop programs and stuff like, which will give them the edge, like in the stock markets. And, you know, we're starting to see that. It's like, you know, all these high-tech people are getting filthy rich, you know.
Yeah. And there's a comment here about med beds. You know, it's funny that you say this because off of US 35 here where I live in Logansport, there is a huge sign right by the road that says med beds, and it has an arrow pointing towards the private drive. And you go back. I've been meaning to get over there and talk to them about what they were, but I just never, I haven't gotten around to it because I've been really, really busy. So I'm going to go out one of these days and find out what that's all about.
Right. Well, I know they do have med bed. You can buy a med bed, but they're pretty expensive. I can't remember what the price of them. You know, you can actually get these little canisters of what is it?
Oh, the Tesla or the Tesla biohealers.
Yeah, you know, which are a canister of kind of like a charged something. You know, I don't know what it is or anything. And you know, like everything, even this is not new. This goes back to the ancients and their alchemy and you know, their different views of the world. You know, how the stars and the moon affects all of us physically. You know.
Yeah, that's actually how they came up with the term lunatic and lunacy, because they thought it came from the cycles of the moon.
Right. You know, I mean, when you start looking at linguistics and stuff like that, it's like, oh my goodness, you know. And then, you know, I like looking at just things just to look and to learn, you know, and I try to be um, open-minded about everything that I'm looking at, that, you know, I'm not going into it judgmental, you know, like this is evil or this is good. It is what it is, you know. That's
Yeah.
like I see where through time they've turned what was once considered good things into evil things, like the swastika. You know, that itself used to be a symbol of the stars, the how the stars rotate. You know, and it depends on the way the arm of the swastika is pointing. You know, and it even through time it had different meanings to it. But then it got turned into a evil thing.
Yeah, symbol of hatred.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's just a lot. So I ordered a book. Believe it or not, I got this from Temu. All right, I don't know if you bought anything on Temu, John, but it's called The Lost Books of the Bible and the Great Rejected Texts. Have you ever heard of that?
I've not heard that specifically, no.
But
I mean, I've heard of the lost book, but you know, they weren't lost.
Yeah, they were suppressed from the council.
Well, and that was due to like, even in like we go to school and we learn reading, writing, arithmetic, a little bit of history, and a little bit of everything.
Right.
Because in order to really, once you start looking at it, it's such any topic like mathematics is a vast exploration, you know, like where did mathematics come from? Who started mathematics? And once you get into that, and, you know, a lot of people question, you know, why do we believe what we believe? You know, we were taught, and somebody started that somewhere along the line. That's
right.
Like they say the Egyptians say that Thoth is the one who brought language into being. Now, in what form? Because like a lot of the Egyptians use hieroglyphics and not really a written, just the evolution of words and how things go is quite a journey in that in itself.
Yeah. In this book that I got, it's like almost 1,000 pages, right? So the lost scriptures of the Old Testament, we have the first and second book of Adam and Eve, the first book of Enoch, the second book of Enoch, the book of Jubilees, which is in the Catholic Bible that I have sitting on the desk here, the book of Jasher, the story of Icar, however you say that. Section 2 is the apocalyptic writings and the end of days. So we have the apocalypse of Abraham, the apocalypse of Thomas, 4th Ezra, 2nd Baruch, and then the war scrolls. So you go to section 3, it's lost scriptures of the New Testament. So the Gospel of Philip, Gospel of Mary Magdalene, the Apocryphon of John, the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Judas, and the Acts chapter 29.
When you start looking at that, that's like if you look at how like the Roman Catholic Church um, became like kind of like the final say so over different things. They took a lot of these books and canons and the Apocryphas, and they decided this because they wanted to make a Bible. They wanted something compact to give to the public.
Yeah.
And some of the writings and stuff like that, only certain people like the popes and the different higher ups in the church were privy to, because some of what is like the Apocryphas was kind of like they don't even know if it was accurate, or maybe they don't even know the real source of it. They couldn't verify it, put it that way. So it's kind of like, well, we don't want to put out something that might be misleading, which at the same time, it's kind of like what we're dealing with today. You know, there's so much information out there, and some of it's misinformation, disinformation, propaganda. And you know, we're dealing with that now because it's kind of like they open the floodgate up where there is no censorship before it gets to us. That's like, if you remember growing up, you know, at one time on TV, they weren't allowed to show skin, really. You know, they weren't allowed to use cuss words. So they were regulated. Well, now we're dealing with, they take these regulations off. Some say that was Obama did that to, you know, where they can't censor nobody. So now it's kind of like we are a society that was kind of like, given only certain things and certain views. Now we're given all of it to where it is your decision. You know, if you don't want this, don't take it. If you don't want that, you know, this is up to you now. You know, it's not the government or the media saying, hey, you're not allowed to see this propaganda, or you're not allowed to see this. We're getting it all now. But the only thing is, like on YouTube or whatever, there is that degree of censorship that's taking place on us.
Yeah. Censorship has been going on everywhere. And it's just been in the last, I want to say the last 8 years, it's been the worst that I've ever seen it in my life. You know, I may be only 43, but, you know, the fact that it's happening now in my lifetime, that shouldn't be happening. You know, we have discernment for a reason. I mean, God gave us discernment for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for us to determine what was good, what was bad. It actually talks about that in the books of Adam and Eve that I'm currently reading.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and that's why I say we were always protected to somewhat of a degree. It's kind of like, just like with everything, it's like, well, we should give the public this, you know, and all the media participated. There was one link I shared with you. It was called the Highlands Forum. There are groups of people who are the think tanks of whether it be the country or even the world. And that's like the Bohemian Grove. These are think tankers. You have corporations that are nothing but think tanks, like the Rand Corporation. You know, these, all kinds of them out there. You know, so people want to say, who's controlling this world, it's actually a lot of people. It's not just where we go wrong is we try to say it's this people or this group when it's actually a combination of way I like to, you know, well, Harvey, when Harvey did his speech, if I were the devil, you know, you've got good people out here in this world, but there are bad people who get into it and they manipulate and even hide within these good groups, so that when you're trying to say who is doing all of this, they're in all groups, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of looking through this, the Highlands group. And another one that nobody really talks about is the Majestic 12.
Yeah.
You know, they don't really talk about them either.
Well, that's it. And some of them don't really have like a title to them. I was looking like in the Middle East when they were having their wars and stuff like that. There was only like 4 or 5 people who were actually calling the shots and putting country against country, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, when you start looking at things, through different lenses, if you will.
Right.
It makes a difference.
That's like, they call it conspiracy theories, which, a lot of people, and it throws kind of like a bad taste out there, where a lot of people, oh, he's a conspiracy theorist. And some people wear that badge with pride. It's like, hell yeah, I'm a conspiracy theorist. There's a lot of truth out here that a lot of people are missing just because somebody is saying, don't look here,
Yes. Yeah. And maybe that's, kind of human nature for us to look where they don't want us to look.
Right. Well, it's like, a lot of things we're realizing today, like the rabbit hole. We go down a rabbit hole. But have you ever rabbit hunted slow country?
I have.
They run in a circle, don't they?
They do.
That's just like the rabbit hole. It's almost like jumping into a web, because it's like everything will lead you to one place and take you to another place, and
that'll take you to another place and to another place, and you never truly get to the base of the web.
Right. Or it might even run you in a circle to where you're right back where you started,
But yeah. Well, I'm going to try to do another live next week. It'll probably be next Thursday. It'll either be Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday. I don't know. It just depends on what's going on. But more than likely, it'll probably be Tuesday. So if you guys want to come back on Tuesday, I'm going to set up the live after we're done here. And, it's good because then we can look and see if the numbers are doing anything on Tuesday at that point, whether they put in the early voting ballots, and counted them or whatever for the presidency or whatever, So, I mean, it'd be good that way. John, if you want to join me on Tuesday, put your email in the private chat here, and I will copy and paste it, and I'll email you with the new link.
I'll just get I got this notification, so I'll just drop in and you can drop me the link. If I'm here, I'll let you know I'm here. But my email up here lately has just been blown up with spam.
Okay.
So if you were to email me, it would take me a long time just to even find it. And anymore, like I stopped using my email. I just keep it for emergency use to that type because I usually just open it up and delete everything.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to download or put something on my computer, you know.
So, but yeah.
But it's good talking with you. I'm,
Likewise.
you know, everybody's in this together, and you know, that's just like I brought my perspective. I don't, you know, I wasn't trying to persuade anybody. This is what I'm seeing, you know.
Right. No, yeah. It's always good to have you up here, man. It really is, because you're chock full of knowledge. So, I mean, yeah. So, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and call it, John.
All right.
I've got to get the house cleaned up and get pork chops out of the freezer for dinner. So, but yeah, it was great seeing everybody. Like I said, as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to set up the thing for Tuesday. So
thanks for having me up, and thanks for what you're doing. So, I mean, like you said, I think, you know, even like the Bible says, my people suffer from a lack of knowledge.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's what we are. And I think some of it is, you know, like I said, we get caught up in life and everything to where we're not really looking, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't. And you can't hold that against them, you know. In a sense, you know, what they call that, where ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
To a certain degree, you know, but being ignorant and not looking has led us to where we are, to where these people are getting away with everything, you know.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, there's just so much. And like you said, they say ignorance is bliss, but there comes a point to where you can no longer be ignorant about everything, because it's going to start affecting you if you are.
Right. And I think I mean, even people I talk to who aren't really digging deep into these rabbit holes are seeing, you know, they know something's up. You know, they might not understand it, but it's like, you know, you know, it's in their face so much, whether it be even mainstream media. It's like, what? This is crazy. This is stupid, you know?
Yeah. So I got a story for everybody. So part of our buyer's agreement when we bought the house was that our electrical panels get upgraded from the pushmatic breakers to the actual, you know, the newer breakers. So I was the last day that the electrician was here upgrading the last panel. I was talking to him, and he goes, yeah, the cost of material is skyrocketed, and you know, so I have to charge more, and I really don't like having to do that. And I was like, yep, I know. He goes, so what do you know about everything, about what's going on? I said, I know quite a bit. He goes, really? I said, yeah. He goes, so enlighten me. So I started breaking stuff down for him, a little bit here, a little bit there. He goes, maybe I ought to start paying more attention to what's going on.
Right.
Because I had no idea. And I said, a lot of people don't, because they watch the box on their wall instead of actually doing their homework, their research.
Right. Entertainment, you know.
Yep.
And that's exactly what it is. It's just keeping your mind busy to where, you know, you're not really learning anything, like how the world really works. And you know, there are, like, you know, they use vague terms like the swamp. Well, to me it's like, well, who's the swamp, you know?
Yep.
Give me some names, let me know who to go after, you know. I need to know my enemy, you know?
Yeah, well, you know, I've called. No, and I'm going to bring some light to something else before I close this out. So my mom, her well went out, right? And it was because of one of the local farmers. They've been draining the water table, and it's every year for the last 6 years during irrigation season. So my mom called DNR because Indiana has a law on the books that if a farmer drains the water table to where somebody cannot utilize their own well, then what has to happen is that farmer either has to pay for a new well to be dug or water to be trucked in. DNR came out for the last couple of years, and last year they told mom, now I want to make this known, the farmer has already paid for 8 different wells to be dug within the confines of the water table, right? 4 different people that have had that same problem. So DNR came out and they looked at it because it's up to DNR to push everything, right? And they told mom last year that if she has the same problem that this year, that the farmer would have to pay for water to be trucked in or a new well dug, right? So he goes and tells the farmer, look, this is what's going on. Well, between him talking to the farmer and then talking to mom the following day, he did a complete 180. When he came out to look at mom's thing, he didn't even measure the depth of where the water actually was that she was getting her water from. He went to a test site 3 miles down the road to measure it there and said, oh no, the water table's fine. Your well pump's bad. She's got a brand new well pump that was put in last year. Because what happened, because of this problem, it burned up her well pump.
Right.
So then the farmer said, nope, I'm not paying for a new well to be put in. I'm not paying to have water trucked to you. You're just shit out of luck. So we've called every agency that we could. We've called the representatives for our area. We've called, and that also includes the state senator. We've called the attorney general's office. We've called the governor's office that referred us back to DNR, the one that screwed mom over in the first place. And I've called a couple of news outfits, right? To which the news outfits hasn't even given me a call back.
Well, and too slow. Like when I was a kid, I remember my dad on our farm, we had a natural spring, and he wanted to put in a cattle water trough, which would have been fed off of that spring. And he went through the Army Corps of Engineers. Now, how he got to that, I don't know. But I remember him saying he had to go through the Army Corps of Engineers and to get it approved. Now, I don't know if legislation has changed to give that authority and that, division over to DNR or whatever. But that was here in Indiana as well.
Yeah. I'll have to let her know about that. But I mean, we've exhausted everything we can. I can't pay to put in a well for because I don't have an extra 10 grand laying around.
Right.
And when I bought the house, that put a huge dent in my credit availability.
Right.
And then my wife, her car had taken a dump, so we had to go get her a new car. So I'm tapped. I can't do anything. And my brother-in-law, he won't do anything for mom. And my sister can't because, her husband, which is my brother-in-law, makes sure that she doesn't. And so they can't do anything. My other sister, she's mentally handicapped, so she can't. And my mom's ex-husband, I just talked to him 3 hours ago, and he said that he was going to go to the bank and see if he can get a loan to get mom a well.
You say on a farm, is it an active farm?
It is an active farm. Not my mom's house. My mom's house isn't it. My mom lives in town.
Right, but the area is on an active farm. That might be a possibility because there is a lot of grants out there for the small farmer, maybe the Department of Agriculture, because I know my friend who does construction, he also raises cattle. And through a grant, now this wasn't from a well or anything, but they paid for him to put in automatic feeders, but it was off of the pressurized city water. So there is things out there that may help if you go to the farm side of it.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that. Because, like I said, Mom doesn't, she lives in town. She doesn't live on a farm.
Right.
But the farm in question is 2 miles away from Mom's house.
But the water comes from there.
But the water comes from the water table that is right over the farm. So, and when I called the representatives, his mom called them and I called them. I said, I want you to think of a water table like a lake, an underground lake.
Yeah.
They said, okay, why is that? I said, because if you look at a lake, where they're measuring at the surface is one thing, but when they actually drill down, it's kind of like throwing a fishing line in a way.
Right.
Because the lake bed is all different depths. So whereas the middle of the lake might be 30 feet, over at the edge where you're casting your line off may only be 5.
Right.
So,
yeah. And two, that's just like, I know like out west, they have water rights.
Yeah.
And I know like Saudi Arabia owned farmland out in the west. Well, they weren't held to the same regulations as an American farmer out there or even a citizen, because it's like, well, they're telling the citizens you can only use so much water. Saudi Arabia had unlimited. What they were doing was they were raising alfalfa for their cattle, and they would send the hay back to Saudi Arabia to feed their cattle. But they were using the land and the water sources here to do that.
Yeah.
And that's something I think is one of the big things. We look at like, a country takeover as they come in rolling with tanks and jets and bombs, but they can actually buy a country. Look how much the investors and everything like that from foreign nationals and foreign investments are in the United States, to where it might say, like Ford, it might say Ford on it. It might be in the United States, but maybe 60% of it is owned by China.
Yeah.
You don't see that,
Yeah.
But I'll let you go, so I know you wanted to get off of here, and appreciate your insight and your thoughts, and maybe I gave you a little bit of something to go on, and might help you get water and something else to look into.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Every little thing helps, and I'll see if she can get a hold of the Army Corps of Engineers to see if they can figure something out, because this is ridiculous.
Right. To me, it's like, how does the state or even the federal government get the rights to your water?
Yeah. Well, and when my mom called the Attorney General's office and the governor's office that referred her back to DNR, the big thing of, well, we can't tell a farmer how much water to use. She said, that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to limit anything. What I'm trying to do is get him to do what he's supposed to do by law and take care of the problem, because we share the water table.
Right. But that's how things work. It's like something that everybody should have equal access to. Like if it's nature, if it's natural, we all should have the rights to that.
Equal access to it. Yeah.
Right.
No, I agree. But yeah. All right, John. Thanks for coming up, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody's input, especially yours, John, about what we can do, about the well situation. But
like everything, sometimes, to get to the answer, we have to ask the right question.
Yes.
And maybe I gave you, a different way of, a different perspective to go at this,
Yeah.
I love you, brother.
Sure did.
Hold your ground and just keep your faith, and you have a great time, and hopefully I'll see you Tuesday.
Yeah, man. I'll be on Tuesday.
Love you, brother.
Hey, right back at you, man. Have a good one. And everybody, I will talk to y'all later. I'll be back Tuesday, and I will try to find something. So have a good one. Have a safe weekend.